All right, we are live. I am so honored and so privileged for the gentleman that I have here with me today. I'm so excited to do this interview with you because honestly, for me, it's a privilege. This guy, I've known about this guy for a long time, and I've actually just getting to meet him recently and getting to know him some. And I got to tell you, it's been just an amazing privilege. But this guy is an absolute legend in the home business network marketing industry. And I am super excited to have you. Robert Hollis, how are you, man?
I am blessed and highly favored. Thank you, Mark. I really, really appreciate it. I know that you don't know this, but you've sort of been a mentor from afar.
Wow.
When I started zeroing in on the person that I wanted to emulate, that I felt like really, a match. And of course, you know that Ray and Jessica didn't know that I was watching them for a number of years from afar, watching how their affiliates did and how they were progressing and what they were doing. So,
Man.
the little bit of information and wisdom you gave me at the baby shower.
Right, man. Great place to share wisdom, man.
Yeah. I put that into action right away, and here we are. So it's an honor of mine too. So thank you, Mark.
Yeah, of course. Now, I just wanted to start real quick because I know, there may be some people that maybe don't know who you are, but maybe you could just share your story for a second, because I just think, I've watched over the years some of the things that you've done. And I mean, it's amazing to see, what you've done in network marketing. And I would just love for some people to know a little bit about that. So if you can just tell
I would love to.
Yeah,
I would love to. My one of the unique things about me is I had one of those childhoods that, I would like to rival against anybody's story. So if you ever have any of your listeners, Mark, or close friends that think they got a sad story before the age of 18, I think I can beat them. So, and I don't want to go into that or reflect with that, but it was just like, grew up through foster homes, just really always had the self-confidence thing and maybe a little bit of a chip on my shoulder. And all of a sudden I got one person that told me, which is so important, that they told me that they thought that I was good working with, snowmobiles and motorcycles. And so I couldn't remember, Mark, anyone ever telling me I was good at anything.
Yeah.
And so for someone to say that to me, then that's how I ended up being a mechanic. So, everyone that I grew up, you become who you hang around. And everyone I knew didn't even see a reason to complete high school, right, because the goal was to get a job.
Sure. That was it.
And so if you're going to be a blue collar worker, work in the oil field, electrician, plumber, or whatever, I decided to be a mechanic. And so I'm just out there doing what I'm told. I got married really early at 20, had my son, Robert Hollis Jr. at 20. And now I'm out there being a mechanic and just working hard. And that's what I'm supposed to do. Yeah. And what threw a boomerang into my life was, I got hurt on the job. I got put on workman's comp. And to tell your listeners how intelligent I am, a van was trying to come off a hoist, and I tried to stop it. So, and I lost, and it ended up pinning my back against my toolbox, hyperextended my knee, and tore everything up.
Oh, man.
And then I had someone with a white coat, Mark, one of those people with authority,
right,
that said, "You'll never be a mechanic again."
Yeah.
And that's when I went, you gotta be kidding me. What else am I going to do? Right. Am I going to go back to school? So that's where my phrase is, when you surrender, seriously surrender and ask for help, which I did. I don't mind telling people I got down on the one knee I had left and just said, God, man, there's got to be something to this. And when I opened up my mind, a friend of mine named Sean Hennigan, I'll give him credit for 28 years. He never did anything in the network marketing or home business arena, but he introduced me to a guy that had a documented check. Oh, wow. And I met this guy. His name's Bill Gould. I write about him numerous times in my book. And man, I tell people, I did a post recently where I said, I decided stupid. And what I mean by that is I knew I didn't know anything about success, marketing, entrepreneurship. I didn't even know what the word entrepreneur was. I've never heard of it. I didn't know what network marketing was. I didn't know what Amway was. I didn't know anything. And so I just really simply said to my mentor, listen, tell me exactly what I need to do.
Right.
And I did what he told me to do. I made $10,000 my first 45 days. I made $258,000 my first year, 520 my third, 785 my second, 785 my third, made over $1 million before I was 30. And so it's still to this day, Mark, what's hilarious when I hang around people that are experts in the network marketing industry, they do about 80% of the stuff that I've never heard of. I go, because my mentor taught me way different. I never did a three-way call. I never did a home meeting. I all this stuff that they say that you got to do. I'm going, wow. 28 years ago, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have the internet. So it's pretty interesting. And so, that's been 28 years ago. And now my biggest claim to fame is I've helped 46 people make over $1 million a year. 7 of them own their own network marketing companies that do over $800 million. One of them. Is that all? Yeah. And my son's followed me. So now I got Robert Hollis Jr. that's made over $1 million in commissions, and got my son, Matthew, that him and his wife, Hannah, doing everything online, building network marketing, what everybody said you couldn't do. And they've made over $7,000 a month. And so now I'm a grandfather, and here I am today, learning some new skills from people like you.
That's awesome, man. That is so cool. That's a great story.
Thank you.
That's amazing. But I want to ask you, since you've gone on to create such an amazing business, and you've had an amazing career in this industry, what do you think, if you had to narrow it down? I mean, you went on very quickly and really came out of the gate and made a lot of money. What do you think, if you had to pinpoint it to help people, what do you think really helped you succeed? Because this is, how long ago was this again when you got started? Like 20 years ago, 25 years ago?
28 years ago.
28 years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
So, if you had to narrow it down, what would you think?
I know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
One of the things that I can say, and maybe people will struggle with this thought, is I was so desperate, man. It's funny, we were watching Ray the other day talk about, climbing the Himalayas with his teeth, and it's like, I was hiding my car from the repo man. I was being evicted out of my apartment. I had sold or pawned everything. And so when I met my mentor, I really simply said and understand that he didn't even live in, he lived like 4 hours away from where I lived. And so, doing, introducing people to him or the meetings or anything, none of this was there. Yeah. And he said, Robert, very simply, ask people if they can do you a favor, say hello, ask them if they could do you a favor. And then very simply ask them if they know anyone that would be interested in learning how to supplement their income. Yeah. And when they ask, what is it? Very simply say, why are you interested? And when they said, well, I don't know what it is. Back then, I just very simply said, well, I can get your name and your number. Yeah. I will set up a time when I can give you a call later when you get home from work. Well, back then, you only had the landline. Right. So, we tweak it a little different for the internet.
Were you guys past rotary dials at that point, or?
Oh, yeah, I'm that old. I just turned 54 yesterday. So,
right.
Yeah. So, but if I could say what the key was, is I was only interested in doing the things that would get results. Yeah. And when I said your listeners might have problems with this, or your viewers might have problems with this, it's like when I said I chose stupid, I didn't think I needed to add it more. I didn't think that I had to do something different. I just knew I had to edify and promote my upline, which was the success story at the time. And then what I did is I got them in front of it. I set a time to go meet with them and put them in front of a video at that time, a VHS tape.
Oh, no.
In fact, the first videos I got from my mentor were beta tapes, if you can believe it.
Oh my gosh. I was like a little kid when beta finally, when it went out,
Yeah. And my mentor said, Bill just said, Robert, how many people did you talk to today? How many people did you set an appointment with today? And how many people did you get to watch the video today? And those were the only things that I could do. So now he did challenge me, which I think is unique, is he said, well, how fast do you need to make money? And I said, I'm going to get kicked out of my apartment by the end of the month. and he said, listen, I don't know if you're like me, but I put 70 people in front of this video in my first 30 days. Wow. Let's say you're half of me. And I go, I'm not half of anybody.
Right.
And that was a personal challenge to me. And I got 72 people to watch that video in my first 30 days. Wow. And why I say my first 45 days is the companies back then only paid every month, like affiliate marketing, and they didn't pay you till the 15th of the next month. So
there you go. You make sure it all fits in there, you know?
Yeah. And so, yeah, my biggest key to is I believed 1000%. I seen his check. It was $62,000. It was attached to the stub. And then he had a 3-ring binder with other people's color copies of their checks, along with their picture and a little thank you, Bill, for helping me. I would have never done this without you. And they ranged anywhere between $6,000 to $20,000. And so I seen that it worked for him. I seen that it worked for other people. And I even remember asking him, Mark, I go, what'd you do before this? Well, I didn't understand how network marketing worked. So he said he used to install car stereos.
Yeah.
And I said, how long have you been with this company? He said 3 months. And I went, wow, $62,000 in 3 months. I had no idea that Herbalife in 1985 just had trouble with the Food and Drug Administration. And so they had a bunch of bad press. So a bunch of their leaders left there. That's when Jim Rowan retired. And a bunch of their leaders left and went to a company called NSA, now known as Juice Plus.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So he was bringing over like Jeff Roberti, their whole entire group. And I'm like, $62,000. And here's another thing I think that your listeners will love. I did not look at making $62,000. I kept saying to myself, can I do 10% of what this guy does?
Right.
Because $6,000 that's more than I've ever made as a mechanic.
Yeah, absolutely. No question, you know. It's amazing.
So that's what I did. And I'm pretty simple guy, man. I haven't changed much. I've adapted it to online, which is really fun. And you know, some of our groups with some of the things that I learned, we put over 750,000 people into a company in 4 years. And we were having, you know, 510, 520 people enrolling with money in our group a day. And so
that is insane.
Yeah.
That is insane.
Fun times. Yeah.
That's awesome. You know, I have to tell you, like, I really relate. You know, you were saying that one of the things that really helped you succeed was you were in desperate mode. You had to make something happen. And I look back even on my story, and I remember I was living in Chile, and there was a point where, you know, I was doing some little side work here and there, and I had this knowledge, and I literally had $7 in my bank account. And I remember walking into the kitchen, and my wife said, you know, we need food. We're out of food. And I'm thinking, I know I'll be fine for a couple months. You know, I got some spare here.
Insulation.
And I literally at that moment went into desperation mode. And it was 90 days later, I had my first 5-figure month. And I don't know what it is, but I think sometimes, and, you know, I just think that sometimes maybe we got to trick our mind to get into desperation mode sometimes, because it really comes down to how bad you want it, you know, and if you really want it, you're going to go after it.
It is. And I'll tell you a way that I trick my mind since you brought that up.
Yeah, that's perfect.
When my son, Robert Hollis Jr., wanted to do this profession, and I had retired, sort of like semi-retired in 2001. And so he wanted to come into industry, and that was like 2008, I think. I don't remember. It was the beginning of 2009. And so what I did with my lifestyle, not bragging, but it's pretty awesome, is we found one of these monthly rental hotels that you could rent that was really close to the office space of this new company. And then I rented a van. an old van. I mean, the brakes squeak so bad. And then I don't like, and for people who might get mad, I'm sorry, I don't like Denny's restaurants for some reason. I don't. And so what I told my son is me and him had to share a room in this hotel, rented that van, and we ate at Denny's every day until our income that we were earning from the new thing would say that we couldn't.
Right.
Now, this is while I got beautiful vehicles sitting in a garage, beautiful home. And I do that to myself because I put myself in a quote unquote pissed off mood.
Right.
So I didn't sleep good last night because of this place. I'm up early. I know how to get out of it by seeing how many new people I can talk to a day.
That's like totally backing yourself in a corner, so to speak.
Yeah, and this is in 2009, and me and my son enrolled 608 people in our first 60 days.
Wow. That's so hardcore.
From nothing. And most of the names that we found were off a real popular social site called MySpace.
Yeah.
That was before Facebook.
I know. When I first started getting online, MySpace was the big thing. I mean,
hey, I'm telling you.
I remember buying a little program called MySpace Secrets by Jonathan Budd, you know?
Oh, wow. That long ago. That's crazy.
He had it, and I remember setting up a MySpace page, and I got, trying to do all this, and it was weird.
I never thought about it. I don't ever remember canceling my MySpace page. Maybe it's
probably still there. As a matter of fact, you want to know something funny? It's so funny you say that. Like literally last week, I was like, "Hey, I wonder if my MySpace page is still there." And sure enough, it's still there.
Oh my! We all had Todd as our friend, wasn't it? Is his name? What is his name? Todd.
Which one? Oh yeah, Todd. Yeah. That's crazy, man. That's wild. Man. Good times. Well, I'm glad you bring this up, and because this is kind of a question I wanted to ask you. You've been around in network marketing, home-based business for 28 years. So you saw it and you worked this thing and you were massively successful before the internet came along.
Right.
So I got to imagine that you have seen like this massive shift happen over the last number of years. And I'd love to hear your perspective on it toward social media specifically. And, you obviously you're very involved now in social media and your sons and things like that. So I'd love to hear your perspective on that because I think it's very important,
Well, let's bring it all the way back to the basics. If we bring it back to the basics, people will understand that they should be using internet and 100% be using internet.
Yeah.
I remember the day that I had to set up appointments. It sounds like I could be your parent. I walked in the snow, chest deep, uphill both ways.
Right. For 4 miles.
Cans.
Right.
But no, I remember setting up appointments by calling on a landline after people got home from work. Then all of a sudden there was this incredible progression in my business because I actually could use pay telephones. Can you flip and imagine that? So I would set up camp, in phone booths, never came out as Superman, but felt like
you have truly seen the transition. I love this.
Yeah. Then they had these cell phones that came out that were the size of briefcases. They still had the curly cord on them. This is before the Wall Street, block, the big brick that he had, the Motorola. And I look at today, and if a person just mapped out, I remember having a pager, and when you map out today what a smartphone can do. Yeah. So let's talk about basics now. Basics really simply are getting new people in front of an effective presentation.
Yeah.
So if you went all the way back 28 years and I could mentor you, I would say, listen, Mark, you got to introduce yourself to people. You got to do it with some enthusiasm, build a little bit of rapport, and then you got to learn to invite properly. Now, if you invite to a person, not a company or a product or, a comp plan, to a person, and you properly edify and promote that person, then you can set up a meeting. It does not have to be person to person. In my case, it was always on video. So now that was 28 years ago. That's what I'd be teaching you.
Yeah.
So today I'm going on Facebook. I'm building rapport and relationship. Yesterday was my birthday, and I think I got, out of all the social medias, way over 1,000 happy birthdays.
Yeah.
And you might say to people, wow, that's impressive. I'm not trying to impress you. I want you to feel what it feels like to have 1,000 people reach out and thank you and say happy birthday.
That's amazing.
I know you think that's stupid. Wait until you feel it.
Yeah.
You know,
that's what it's all about. You know, making people feel awesome. You know, just that's
people posting pictures of me with them over the years with my book, all this stuff, and I'm going like, wow. You know, this kid, young girl was 8 years old, and she reached out and drew a picture with me and her holding hands on and crayon.
Yeah.
And it's like, happy birthday, Robert. I love listening to you teach. And I'm like,
wow,
bawling, you know what I mean? And so, you know, people think it's about money. It's not even close. So today I build relationships with people. Now, when I build relationships, I like to use reciprocity. So there's a lot of stuff that I've gathered over the years, and I have always had certain links on the internet that I would send people saying that this book or this audio or, you know, this thing really, really touched me. One of my favorite giveaways is Og Mandino's The Greatest Miracle in the World. I ran into a lot of people, Mark, that struggle like I did with self-confidence, self-worth, self-esteem. And so you read that book and it pops you.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't pop you, then it says the God memorandum that you read every day for as many days as you need to.
Yeah.
You know, so that really is something that I'll say to people, listen, it's on my blog. You know, here it is, my website, you know, I'll send it to them and they send back and went, okay, so I'll stop being a victim. I'll stop crying. I'll stop whining.
Right.
And then that usually impacts them emotionally enough where they're saying, well, what do you do? I don't understand really what you do. And that's when I can choose to share with them an effective presentation and share with them, you know, if I was doing something where I was brand new in this business, I would definitely find someone I resonated with, like you, and be very good at knowing your story. I'd know your story better than you. Yeah. And I would be good at edifying and promoting you and saying, listen, I need you to look at Mark's stuff. And Mark's teaching me, Mark's helping me. You know, I'm really, really blessed to have him coaching me. You got to listen to Mark. Yeah. And I would just make sure that I got more people in front of Mark's videos than anybody else.
Right. That's awesome. That's amazing. You know, and it's what I'm hearing you say is the same thing that made network marketing, home-based business successful 20 years ago, which was all about relationships, rapport building, and building that with people. It's some of the methods of connecting might change with social media, but the core basis of what makes business so successful is relationships. When I was a corporate sales guy, it was the same thing. Yeah. It was all about the relationship I had with my customer, whether they would buy more or sign up, you know, do whatever. So that's the important thing to understand. And I, you know, with my audience, I really want you to hear what Robert's saying, because, you know, I don't care how many leads you generate. If you can't connect and you can't build rapport with people, it ain't ever going to happen. And this is something, man, I just hammer. It's so important. You know,
I think what makes me successful now that I'm doing this transition to all online, or, you know, building a brand kind of thing, is it's in my DNA. It's in my ritual, which I spell with a CH. My ritual is I reach out and do that connection. I don't understand and never will understand that a person could send a link into the air via email or post it on a social page, and people just go, that's what I've been praying for.
Right.
They click on it, buy everything that you got, enroll themselves, teach themselves. Yeah. I mean, to me, it's like, I'll tell you what it's like since we're going back 28 years. It'd be like me taking a VHS tape and laying it on your porch.
Right. You walk out and you're like, What is this?
Mark, I've never said that in my life. I've never said that in my life. We come home from work. Oh, someone lifted some pills.
Right. Oh my gosh, man. It's amazing.
A post-it note on it, and it says my ID number.
Right. Just in case, here's my ID, you know. That is so true. That's such an amazing, like,
man.
It really is. I got to tell you, and I think this is why I look back over my home business career and I think, who are the people that really had the biggest impact on me? It was the people that made me feel great about myself.
Amen.
And I think about that. And it was those people that I really wanted to follow, because I always remember that, that old slogan, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. When you really show that, I mean, that's what I think is so powerful about social media. People underestimate the simple ability of a comment on a post that says, you know what, you're amazing. I mean, think about that. It's that same thing,
What my mentor said to me, and I'll do my best not to get emotional when I say it, because it impacted me so much. Yeah. And my mentor said to me, and it wasn't person to person, it wasn't a group. And he said, if no one's ever giving you permission to succeed and be happy, I'm giving you permission.
Wow. That's amazing.
So all your listeners and anybody that ever watches this video, I give you permission to succeed.
Wow. That's powerful, man. That is so, so powerful. And
I just went, okay. Yeah.
It's like sometimes we lack that belief in ourselves, but to see that someone else has the belief in us, that's what ignites it a lot of times.
It totally is. I tell people that, everyone it either comes from inspiration or desperation.
Yeah.
And it's easy to understand inspiration, because if a little girl sees, a girl win a gold medal in the Olympics in gymnastics and says, Mommy, Daddy, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
See, and when they get the gold medal, what do they say? Oh, I just remember seeing that Douglas girl, for the U.S. Olympics. And I said I wanted to do that. You get to hear that always through inspirational stories. But desperation stories, you know what I mean? Yeah. People sometimes don't get it because they go, wow, I'm taught to be grateful. I write my gratitude journal. I got to be thankful for what I have or I won't get any more. Right. And, I'm pretty darn comfortable.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, do you want me to break your leg? What do you want?
I'll get my bat, it's no problem. Just don't sue me and throw me in jail, okay? I'll help you. That's exactly it. You're saying something too that reminded me. I remember several years ago, I was in a network marketing company. I went to a Tuesday night training, and one of the top earners on stage, he was sharing, here we are in this room, and he's up on stage and he says, there's a door here, there's a door here, and there's a door in the back and a door over there. Because I want you to think of those doors like options. And what happens is when those doors are open, that's what they have this idea that they still have options if this thing doesn't work out. And I remember that specifically. It made me think of, wow, I'm keeping my options open. I need to close those options off.
That's deep. I couldn't go back to be a mechanic. When I pawned off my toolbox, it was over. It's hard to get a job as a mechanic with tools.
Right. I know. That's amazing, man. I hear you. That is totally true. That's just some awesome stuff. Well, I want to ask you one more question. And because I'll tell you, in my time in this industry, and I know you've seen it too. And for me, one of the biggest tragedies of our industry is the people that quit too early, and it breaks my heart every time I see somebody quit, because honestly, it took me, I started in the home business industry in 2000, and I didn't start having success till 2012. So for me, I thank God every day that I never quit. And I guess, for me, I just want to ask you, if you could speak directly to the brand new person who's just getting into this, they have no clue if this thing's ever going to work for them. What would you say to them? Because I think, that's one of the most important things,
Well, I agree with you. I agree with you. And when I look back at my success, you know, people ask me, wow, that's amazing. It's hard to believe that you got success that easy. Yeah. And here's where it was hard work. But if everyone out there would just, you know, one of my favorite shots in fact, if I showed it to you, it's above here.
Oh yeah.
But it's Karate Kid.
Oh yeah.
I love the part where he says, "I'll teach you."
Yeah.
But you can't ask any questions.
Right.
And he says, okay. And he goes, "First wash cars." And he goes, "Yeah, but," and he goes, "I."
Right.
Yeah, and every time he asks, you know, and finally when he's walking around way, I remember he says, "Where'd these cars come from?" And he turns around and he goes, "Detroit." You know, but you know, wax on, wax on, wax off. And what I want to tell the people here is that if you were going to learn to dance, let's just say that you made a decision that, let's say someone as a family member or a friend member was going to get married, and they're going to get married in August. You got the invitation, everything. And all of a sudden, we see this now, very rarely, but we see this where all of a sudden the whole, you know, wedding party learned to dance, or the father and the daughter learned to dance. And I get chills when I say that, or the groom. And if you're going to have a large gathering of people there, wouldn't it be cool? And I know everyone that I'm talking to has done this. Yeah. Wouldn't it be cool to just walk out on the dance floor and everybody's watching, and the next thing you see one of those scenes in a movie where the whole dance floor starts to clear because they're going, "Holy cow. Yeah. Look at that." And what does everybody say when they see that? I wish I would have learned how to dance. Yeah. I should have did that. Yeah. Well, what does it take? A decision. So if you decide to get involved in network marketing, great. You took the first step. Second one, please seek out a mentor that's documented. Yeah. Please. Yeah. Third, stay connected and keep practicing. Yeah. Because if every one of us decided today that we're going to have this competition in August, right? And we make a commitment, we go find a dancing instructor that's documented, we got to frickin' show up. We got to frickin' practice. Right. There's no way. So if you don't practice, well, of course, you're going to go through those three things that everybody goes through. When you first get in there, you know you're going to dance bad. You know everyone's going to laugh at you. But they make you feel good that everyone laughs at each other. You can see everyone struggling at the same time. Right. You don't know that other people are struggling if you're not connected and you don't share that. Right. See, and I think that's the hardest part about people. Hey, Mark, listen, you know what? I actually put an ad out. I really, you know, talked to a bunch of people on Facebook. I got absolutely zero people that come into my contact manager, and I contacted with nobody. And everybody goes, "Oh, me too." Right. And people go, "Oh, really? So I'm not an idiot." Right. So this would be the same thing, is all of us learning to dance, and we're stepping on people's toes, and we're not remembering steps, and we look silly, we look awkward. If you keep practicing, it gets smoother. And when you keep practicing, it's like the way we walk and talk today. You know, some of you are watching Mark and I go back and forth on this Google Hangout, and you're going, "Oh, they look so comfortable." I'd like to know how many times Mark and I have done a video.
You and I have never done one. This is our first time, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, how many videos you and I have done in our collective to get to this place?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm just guessing probably 2,500 videos. I mean, I've done so many, you know?
So here's the thing that I think that people like me and Mark hate. Oh, you guys are just so natural.
Yeah. Sure. You should see my first few videos. You know,
I still have mine online. Right. I have a video with my first testimonial, and it took me less than 35 or 40 seconds to do my testimonial. And I said business, I think 20 times. I'm exaggerating, but Hi, my name is Robert. I got in the business, and then after getting in business, I got my mom in the business, and then I got some friends in the business, and I love this business, and my mentor teaches me the business, and you should get in the business. Thank you very much.
That's hilarious. People are like, okay, this is definitely about business. You know?
Oh, we've all been there, and it's just crazy. It's just crazy.
Well, you know, it comes down to, in order to get good, you got to suck first. I mean,
always.
Yeah, it's the way it always is, you know.
Always.
And
but we all know if you continue to dance, you're gonna get gonna get good, and you're gonna get better than better, and you're gonna get gooder than gooder, and you're just eventually, you're great, you're natural, and everybody goes, oh man, look how natural of a dancer they are.
And that's you know, one of the things I even tell people when it comes to video. I was just doing some coaching with a guy, and his videos were coming off, you know, very scripted because he was really scripting them. and I says to him, I says, look, if you're doing a video, all you got to do is pretend literally you're sitting right across from your best friend having a beer and having a great time. Let it go. You may have a point or two that you want to chat with. That's fine. Put it on a sticky note, stick it up there so you make sure you cover that point. But just let it come out natural. And I'm telling you, it's amazing what can happen. You know, it's amazing.
My mentor, when I first did a first video, he asked me, he said, did you finally videotape your presentation? And I said, not yet. And he said, because you watched one you've already done.
Right.
And I said, yeah. And he goes, don't ever watch them.
That's exactly. Yeah.
And I went, are you kidding me? And he goes, let me ask you a question. When you do an effective presentation, do people in the room get involved? And I said, yeah. And he goes, so now they're watching it on video. What's your problem?
Yeah. That's exactly it. Same thing.
And so I did a presentation. I put it online, and people started signing up. And I just went, wow.
Yeah. That's exactly it. You know, last year at Ray's event, that's one of the things I said on stage, because I got up there and I shared about it. And I told people, I said, you want to do a good video, get your phone out, shoot a video, and don't even watch it. Just upload it to Facebook and let people see it. And that's exactly it. I mean, the problem is we are so hard on ourselves. We're harder on ourselves a lot of times than we are on anybody else. And,
totally.
And we just, it's like you could very easily get on there and say, oh, the camera puts 10 pounds on me. And I'm like, in my case, it's 20, you know?
And there's three of me.
Yeah, right. And so it's just like, once you get to a point where it's like, look, you get out there, be you. And I think that is what's so attractive to people and make people want to work with you, you know? And I think that's what I get from you too, Robert. I mean, you're comfortable in your own skin. You have a good time. You love to laugh. And that's what attracts people to you, to want to work with you.
I'm not looking to be professional.
Right. That's what we got out of what we, you know.
I'm looking, my biggest things are, I want to be accessible.
Yeah.
The best compliment I get in the world, Mark, is, wow, you're so down to earth.
Yeah.
You're so sincere. Yeah. And it's like, okay, I'm hitting my mark. So now my legacy is simple, is I just want to leave this planet with a lot of people using my name in their success testimony.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So that's, so that I got to connect more. I got to figure out how to do it more. I never dreamed in the internet world. You know, I now have people that I network with all over the world.
Yeah.
And you know, when I talk to people and they go, wow, I got a distributor here in this country. I'm now in 12 countries, and they've never left their office in their home. That's cool.
Well, yeah, I got to tell you, I had a coaching client last year, and we ended up having to like stop coaching because his internet was so bad that I just couldn't talk with him, because it was like we couldn't get. But he was in Afghanistan. I had a coaching client in Afghanistan.
Wow.
You know? And I'm like, how amazing is that? You know, I had coaching clients in Australia and you know, all over the place. And
it's funny,
it's such a small world.
If people find excuses, they don't have a purpose. You know what I mean? And so they get excuse-itis. And I had a a number of people that reach out to me all the time from Africa, right? Yeah. And they go, you know, well, I can't get internet and da 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 da. And so I said, well, on the video I just sent you, I held up $300 bills, and if you can tell me what the serial numbers are, I'll send them to you.
Right, and then your internet's good enough.
And then all of a sudden they find a way to use the data to watch the video.
Right. It's amazing. When you change that motivation, man, it just $300. Wow. You know?
And I said, I bet you could figure out a way for me to send the money to you. It's like,
oh, that's awesome, man. That is so cool. Well, man, Robert, I can't even begin to tell you how awesome it's been to sit here and chat with you and get your perspective. And I just know that, you know, whoever watches this is going to get so much value from it. And, you know, for me, it's really a privilege. I know, you know, we've just kind of started to get to really know each other, and I can't wait to hang with you more and, you know, get to know you more. And I'm sure I'll be seeing you at some upcoming events and whatnot. But what a pleasure, man. Pure honor. It's all mine.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to share with more people, to let them know that I not only give them permission, but, you know, I don't know Mark super well, but I know that he won't get mad when I say this. If you only knew where me and Mark came from,
yeah,
that's why we know that you can do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's because we know us. And so when people like give up or say they can't do this, we're going, wait a minute, if I could just show you a video of me before I started doing this, you would go, okay, I guess I can. So please understand, if Mark and I can do it, you can do it. And just believe in yourself. Start asking for help, because as soon as you feel like you're not doing it correctly and you don't ask for help, you don't reach out to Mark or another mentor that you're dealing with, that's when you're dropping the ball.
Yeah,
you got to just say, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I don't feel right. I'm doing something wrong. Can you help me?
Yeah.
And we'll help you. And the way that you become successful is by doing what we tell you.
Yeah. Just do it. but no, just do it. Wash the car. Wax on, wax off.
Wax on, wax off.
Robert, do you have a website people can check out more about you? I'd love to have you
lifemechanic.com.
Okay. Lifemechanic.com.
Lifemechanic.com. Used to be an auto mechanic. Now I'm a life mechanic. So I'll just give you a tune-up from the neck up.
And everybody, if there's one thing that you've learned in this entire interview, just remember that if you ever have a car on a hoist and it starts to fall, do not try to hold it, right?
Another pearl of wisdom.
There you go.
Mark, thank you so much for reaching out to me, man. Your clients and your viewers got to be blessed to have you around, and I'm glad that we're getting to know each other.
Absolutely. I appreciate you so much, Robert. Thanks so much, bud.
You bet. God bless. Have a good day.
You too.